everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and I have a special little message for you today about one of my all-time favorite personal development books. Now, I'm a voracious student of personal development, and over the years, as life has thrown different things at me, I have been so grateful for a perspective of personal development. Now, one of the very first books that I started studying was a little book called The Four Agreements, and this is written by Don Miguel Ruiz. Now, you might be one of those people that have heard of this book, you love this book, you've read it several times. Every single time I go back to this book, it reiterates these four beautiful agreements on how to walk through life with kindness, with an open mind, and how to actually navigate when things get tough or other people might hurt your feelings. So, one of my favorite ones that I actually use all the time is never take anything personally. When someone says something to you or does something to you, or it even can come right at you, it's really just a reflection of what they're feeling and what their life perspective is. It really has nothing to do with you, even if it's coming right at you. And this has been one of the most powerful agreements that I have taken through my life for the last probably 16 or 17 years when I first read this book, that has made a huge impact on the way I'm able to walk through my day without taking things personally. In fact, when you start to put yourself out there, even me with these little videos, and even though there's not, millions and thousands of people watching this, sometimes I get some comments that are less than nice. And it's just interesting to say, okay, that's a worldview from that person's perspective, and it really doesn't have anything to do with me. So when you learn to not take things personal, your shift in this world and the way you walk through it can be huge. Now, the second agreement is to not make assumptions. We all see something happening, we hear about something happening. This is where gossip is so damaging, because usually gossip is a brain birth child of making assumptions, and things grow, things get put out of proportion. But when you see somebody talking across the room, and they're talking together and they look over at you, what happens usually is our human brain assumes they're saying something about you and that it's something negative, even if they just glance in your direction. So when you learn to stop making assumptions, this will free you absolutely unbelievably. So don't make assumptions. That's just as powerful as not taking things personally. Now, the third agreement, and these are might be a little bit out of order, but the third agreement is to always do your best. This is an amazing agreement. Like, always do your best. Um, if you take any situation that you do, regardless of what other people are doing or what other people are thinking, if you just simply do your best for yourself, not to impress anyone else, but simply for yourself, then life can actually shift in pretty big ways because you're doing your best. And it's beautiful to watch what happens when you do that. Now, the final one is to be impeccable with your word. So when you say something, you're going to do something, always have follow through. Be impeccable. Don't commit to do something if you can't do it. Say, I don't have time to do that. Or if you agreed to do something and it turns out that you can't, as soon as you know, be impeccable with your word and the way that you're able to communicate with people so that you can maintain your integrity and your trustworthiness. I mean, these are four very, very powerful agreements to take through your life and navigate and stay in joy and happiness. And, we're not meant to be caught in bitterness and unloving thoughts about each other, especially if this has to do with people who you really love, your family members, your close friends. It's interesting to me to watch families become estranged from each other because of things that were taken personally or things that were taken out of context or assumptions that were made. And we all kind of dig in. We like to have our own maybe victimhood about what we feel is happening. And, we need someone to apologize to us first. These are things that don't serve us. So if you have not read this little book, I would highly recommend that you pick this up. It's impactful. It's huge. It will make a huge difference in the way you live your life. So I would love some feedback. If you've read this book and you love it, what is your favorite agreement? What's the one that has made the biggest impact on your life? I would have to say for me, it is to not take things personally. because we're all these little sensitive souls, aren't we? We have these things that someone says to us and we get our feelings hurt and then we hold a grudge and maybe we can't forgive. But if you learn to look at this life through a different lens, a different perspective, it can really, really shift the way that you walk through life in a super beautiful way. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have an amazing day. Thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon.